First 1 minute and 20 seconds of this video is a voiceover because somehow I must have had the settings set on mute, so you can't hear me talking the first minute 20. Sorry about that. It is the 16th of December, 2023, and I'm just doing some more work on my car underneath. I'm talking about setting up to do the drive shaft first, and the fact that I don't really like working underneath the car like this, sitting on jack stands, but don't have much of a choice. So you can see me pushing on it there to show that it's solid and should be pretty safe. Um, so I forget what else I said in the video, so sorry about that. But basically, I'm just doing as much as I can and today to get things installed, like the drive shaft, the exhaust pipe, reconnecting wires and linkage and everything else that I could do while under there. So that's about it. So after a little blank space here, you'll see my voice pick up and be in sync. Sorry about that. All right, initial connections have been made. The drive shaft first to the rear differential, and then last to the yoke coming out of the transmission because that slides in and out of the transmission. So of course you have to do the other end first. So I've gotten a couple of bolts started on this end, a couple on the other end, and now it's just a matter of snugging them up. However, I have to release the parking brake. It's still set right now, so the rear wheels won't turn. So I need to have them turning so I can get to all four of the bolts on the drive, on the U-joint. All right, the drive shaft is now secured. All bolts are tight. I was able to use the transmission's park feature, leaving it in park to hold the drive shaft from rotating so I could tighten the bolts at either end. So the drive shaft is now back in the car. So my next attempt is going to be to put the exhaust pipe that goes in the driver's side here. I think this is the time to do it when all the linkage is still out of the way and cables and such. Hopefully I'm not thinking about that backwards. We'll find out later. All right, you see the exhaust pipe laying on the ground there now, getting ready to be reinstalled. Ran into a little issue here. I spent a little bit of money, not much, to buy some new hardware, new nuts to go on the studs at the exhaust manifold, new washers, and also new nuts and bolts to at the other end for the flange connections to the resonators. Most of that's fine. The threads inside this nut are fine. The only thing is, and I didn't realize this when I bought them, hopefully it doesn't really matter, these nuts are actually bigger. They're 11/16ths, where the other ones that are on the car, were 5/8. I guess that's the original equipment size. And I don't know if you remember, but months and months ago when I was first taking this stuff off the car, I had to buy just the right size universal joint 5/8 socket in order to get the right angle to get it off on this side. Well, now that's not going to work anymore because I don't have an 11/16ths universal joint. So I'm hoping that just the generic extension universal joint thing there will be good enough. We're going to find out as I attempt to install this in the car now. All right, quick progress report from underneath the car. I have completed my exhaust pipe installations. I've got new nuts here holding the head pipes into the exhaust manifolds on both sides. This is the driver's side, the one that I had to install from scratch. So I've got all that in place. This one was a little trickier, a little harder, not a lot of room to work with. I had to use a screwdriver to hold this over because it was rubbing up against the transmission, but got all that straightened out. I've also got new hardware down at the end here. Let me see if I can zoom a little bit. There we go. Where I'm holding the exhaust pipes into the old rotted out resonators. It's really just a place to attach the pipes to temporarily, and the hardware is not overly tight. It's just tight enough that they're not going to work their way loose until I have a chance to replace those components someday. So the exhaust pipes are done. As previously reported, the drive shaft is done. And the next thing I'm going to work on is I'm going to finish reattaching, connecting the transmission to the engine. There's still some bolts that need to be connected from underneath here. Also got this little access cover that goes right here with the torque converter cover that goes there, so I'll put that on. The starter's already installed, but I do need to install the lead that goes the lead right there. The lead's sitting right here, so that should be easy enough. So I'm just going to try and continue to do as much underneath here as I can. I got all the cross member here still to connect up. All the linkage still needs to be connected, so I'll just keep going. All right, since my last update, I've tightened down the transmission cooling lines on the side of the transmission carefully. I checked the tightness of the oil drain plug. Looks like it's tight, although I have a feeling I'm going to have a leak around the gasket there, and it looks like the pan gasket on the transmission might be leaking too, but none of that stuff I'm too worried about right now. I've actually done a lot of what I wanted to do underneath the car already. It's gone pretty smoothly. The next thing I'm working on right now is linkage, in particular the shift linkage. I got to put this new grommet in place, and I saw a YouTube video on it. Somebody else had figured out how to do it where they put the grommet on the shaft first and then use some kind of channel locks or something to squeeze this whole thing into the hole on the end of the steering column where the shift linkage lever is. So I'm going to try that using plenty of Vaseline and see if I can get that on there, working from underneath the car. I think that's going to be my best access. Otherwise, I'll be climbing on top of the car to try it from there. We'll see how we do. All right, I didn't have any luck with these bushings. The one I have for the transmission that goes on that end, I don't think it's the right bushing. I think this is the right bushing for the top part that goes at the end of the steering column, but I've got to figure out a way to press in on this side and letting that come through the hole. It's not easy. I know they make special tools for that. I might see if I can find one. Otherwise, I might just use a C-clamp if I can get one down in there with a socket or something on the other end. I don't know. But for now, I don't know. I may take another shot at that before the evening. But right now, I'm just showing you underneath the car where I'm still working some. When I put the engine and transmission in, as you may recall, I had a hell of a time with the transmission cooler lines. I had a hard time getting those threaded in. And what I ended up doing with one of the lines was threading it too far below, but I knew that was not right when I put it in, but at that point I was trying to get out of that shop there. So I figured, well, I'll just take care of it later. So I just took off the strut rod, which is laying on the ground there, and the bushings here are shot. So I'll probably just go ahead and replace those since I have it off now anyway. So that means the other side too. But then I just realized it's not just the strut rod that I messed up on. It's also the sway bar link. That sway bar is also above this cooling line. So I'm going to have to take that out too before I can finally get this cooling line up there where it belongs. So I'm not going to get that done today. It's just getting to be too much. So I'm probably going to wrap it up here. I'll do a wrap-up video. I just wanted to give a quick status update. All right, folks, I'm wrapping it up for the day. It's sun's going down. It's getting cold. And I'm done. I'm tired, but I had a pretty good day. Did a lot of stuff underneath the car. Still have a lot more to do. And the more I crawl around looking, it looks like, I don't know, it's going to cost money though. There's so much on the front end and the brakes I could do while I've got it up off the ground like this. Much easier to do that kind of work. But I'm still trying to focus on just doing enough to get everything connected so I can get the engine started. And I do have to get the brakes working though, because right now I've got no brakes except for an emergency brake. And I don't think that's going to be enough to really stop the car. I'm going to see what I can do about the grommets on the shift linkage. I really need to figure out a solution to that and see if there's a tool I can get or some way to make that work. I think the one underneath on the transmission is going to be pretty easy to do with just channel lock pliers. I can get to it easily. The one up top is harder to reach. So anyway, I'm working through that. The car is going to be sitting like this for a while, and I probably am not going to have time to work on it anymore for the rest of the year, more than likely, because Christmas is coming up. I'm going out of state for a week, and then I have to work and all that. So this may be the last update for a while. I don't know. Tomorrow's Sunday, and if I get everything done, I might do a little more tomorrow. I don't know. But anyway, I'm guessing this is probably going to be it for the year. So you all have good holidays, and I'll see you next time. Take care.